Hello, my name's Mark Wells. I'm here from Co-Innovate Studio and also the University of Brighton.
Hi, my name's Eloise, Calandre. I'm an artist and I work at the University of Brighton.
Great, thank you. And today we're going to talk about the challenges that we've been facing very much in the recent sort of times, but also maybe some of the opportunities that have created from this as well. So Eloise, I wonder if you could just sort of talk a little bit about some of the work that you've been doing, but also some of those challenges and maybe, how things are moving forward and where you might be going with that as well.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's been quite an interesting time in terms of my work because some opportunities actually came out of the lockdown and general situation that we're in with everything moving more towards being online and communications being online. So I actually was approached to be part of a show during the summer, and that show is one that wouldn't have really taken place at all if it wasn't for the lockdown, and certainly that particular gallery wouldn't have perhaps been thinking about making a show that was online and functioning in the way that it was. So I thought that was quite interesting because the situation forced people to rethink communications and how art could actually be seen or interacted with in a different type of space that wasn't physical and that was in fact virtual. So for me, I took that invitation to contribute as an opportunity to try and think about that space as part of the work. So originally I was asked to actually contribute a set of photographs that I'd already made, but I asked if I could make a new piece for that show because I had been thinking already about my practice, and although my practice focus is largely on photography and aspects of photography, I've also been really interested in developing some works that explore synergy between physical and virtual space, whether that is in relation to photography or other things. So for this opportunity, I actually decided to think of the screen space as a kind of space for investigation by an audience and how I could kind of play with that. So I decided to make an interactive text piece that was kind of like a playable artwork, effectively. It was a narrative piece where you can build the narrative as you sort of click through the work, but it's also, as well as kind of moving through the narrative and moving through the work, there were these other sort of interactive elements to it. So the piece was actually like a coded text piece where I was really interested in the idea of text as image and the idea of this kind of dual layer of meaning where you have the visual forms on the screen as well as the kind of imagined visuals in your head as you build through the narrative. So that was a really interesting opportunity for me. And as I said, I'd already been thinking about sort of making works that explore some of these sorts of things, but it really gave me not just the opportunity, but it almost forced me to do it now, to not sort of be, I had sort of all these very ambitious ideas as well, but because there was a particular time frame that had come up with that opportunity, I had to sort of think within that parameter. And that was actually a really good experience for me because I had to think practically about how I could create something that was really interesting, hopefully for me and for others, but I could do within that time frame and do, in the way that I wanted to, if that makes sense. So that was really interesting. I mean, I think obviously the challenges have been kind of being indoors more. I think that's the only, one of the things that's been quite hard. Making that piece also meant sort of spending more time in front of the screen. But I think it was also an interesting opportunity for me. And I have found as well that being able to have creative conversations with very busy people is something that I've been able to do more of, strangely, having done it online, because I think just being able to call up and have a conversation, it seems to have been easier to organise that than when you're trying to arrange to meet people in person, even though of course it still feels like a more rewarding experience to be with people in person. It has actually, in that respect, I think, in terms of like conversations that are related to my practice and the development of research, I've been able to have more of them because of this. Yeah. So.
No, that's absolutely fantastic, and it's really interesting to sort of hear how it's changed your work and how it's almost sort of created that sort of catalyst of change, because the sort of seeds were already there, but it just sort of really kind of instigated that and gave you the excuse and the opportunity to do it in a way which is fab.
Yeah.
What do you think your sort of next steps and going forward are?
I think I would like to continue to develop that way of working, and perhaps now, as I said, I already had sort of various ideas of how my practice is sort of moving into that realm a little bit more, as well as retaining, you know, the way that I've been working before. So I think it's really about continuing that development and continuing those conversations that I've been able to have more with people, so that I can do more projects in the future in that way.
Yeah, that's great, thank you. And that's really interesting, just to sort of see how you know, it has been about rethinking kind of some of how people communicate, but how sometimes, you know, art is seen in terms of it being online or in a gallery, and how that opens up so many opportunities, and then also how as I say, you know, it's acted as a catalyst to sort of changing your work and taking it in sort of in directions that it may have already been heading, but it's just given it that kind of that impetus and that excuse almost to kind of go in that way.
Yeah.
So really fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.